They love it. My parents took me to a baseball game. I was bored to death. I'm sorry. I was bored as a kid because nothing grabbed me and said, look at this. I go to a hockey game. I see fucking Brad Hall cruising around with a fucking mullet, scoring 5 a night. Then I see Tony Twist fist pump somebody so fucking bad and then skate to the box like, blah, and take his jersey off, and he's got Tony the Tiger. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go, yeah, I want to be you. I want to be that. And everybody, all the crowd's like, you're awesome. And he just skated around like a bad motherfucker. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. So that's how I got into hockey. And I didn't start skating. There's no ponds. I started rollerblading in my basement and then rollerblading at parks. And then I would rollerblade everywhere and just learn how to skate that way. And then I got into ice hockey, and it just fucking
I'm glad that you brought up skating, because multiple times I've said, hey, Cam, I can't skate for shit. Can you give me a couple tips? And he's like, absolutely not.
Yeah, no. So I have a different side of it than Cam. I learned how to rollerblade as well, but I was living on the north side of St. Louis, and I would rollerblade everywhere in my neighborhood. And it didn't work out well for me on a couple occasions trying to
rollerblade. And you were getting away from some shit when you were
exactly.
rollerblading.
No.
Exactly.
But you don't. If you're rollerblading everywhere, you don't have real shoes on. So you're at your friend's house sitting on the porch, and you don't have real shoes on. You just have your socks and your rollerblades sitting there, and you got to get those on and get loose.
Yeah,
you rollerblade back, baby. You're rollerblading everywhere, and then you take your skate off, and your fucking foot is blistered out the fucking wazoo, and you can't even walk for 2 weeks. Yeah, part of it.
So that's, and all of that. So we're talking about that. You start playing juniors. So we're at about 2000 right now, 99, like right in that area, 97, 98. What's that time frame look like for you?
I'll explain. So I started rollerblading, played roller hockey. Became an athlete by playing every other sport: baseball, soccer, wrestling, all that's everything. I played everything. Became an athlete, loved hockey, got into it because of the Blues. Then my dad got me into ice hockey. Then that's when I never played a year without hitting. I always played up a couple of years because I became pretty good real fast, and I was strong, and I was kind of mature, not mentally, but physically mature at a young age, like fighting my brother's friends, like confident. So it just went boom, boom, boom. Started playing AAA hockey. Then I got noticed. So every time we played AAA hockey, which this is where my parents went fucking broke because it was so expensive. No team wanted to come down and play the AAA Blues here because we weren't established. So they're like, why the fuck are we paying money to come down there? You need to come up to Canada and play us. You're not deserving. So every weekend, and it costs out the shit. My mom's like, oh, you're going on another weekend trip with Cam to my dad. My dad didn't see my mom on the weekends. It was kind of tough, man. Not that that's that tough. Don't get me wrong. But in the sporting world, for where I had to come, it's pretty tough.
I mean, especially at that time. But like now, it's nothing for people doing these travel teams for all kind of sports. But
they're all sponsored now.
Yeah, but back then, being on a travel team was like, no, this coming out your pocket. It's not like a
fuck yeah. and then the coaches would bring on the dipshit fourth line kid that was so bad, but his mommy and daddy had money. His mommy and daddy had money.
They paid for the bus.
There it is. It's a dipshit. Oh, fuck. And we're like, this fucking kid. But then I'd go up to these tournaments and play against these superstar kids that are all in the NHL. And all of a sudden, a scout would come watch the Toronto Marlies team, but they were playing us. So they didn't give a fuck about us. But then I'd go out there and I'd just kill guys and score a nice goal and then be, flamboyant, like, fuck. And they're like, who the fuck is this, kid from where, Eureka? Like, okay. And then all these agents started coming up to my dad and started getting a lot of attention. So that's how I did started. And then juniors is a different story. Juniors is when you can start fighting and stuff. This is when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, found an agent.
Oh, you can start fighting at 13 in a game?
No, I did when I was 15. I made juniors at a young age, 15, yeah. Well, 13 and 15 are a big difference. Well, yeah. 13 years old, 15's you're a lot more mature.
And also at that time that we're talking about too is that there weren't, like, Eureka didn't have a high school hockey team. Like you're doing all of this stuff and you're having to live like two lives at one time. Like you're here kind of, but then that picks up and you're a mid-teenager already with a career that you're working on.
Yeah, and then my buddies here were like, what are you doing? You're playing hockey? Oh, cool, okay. And then I had my hockey buddies. But, it wasn't, my parents are middle class, House Springs, Eureka people. They don't have connections anywhere. all these agents and scouts are looking at my mom and dad like, they're not like buttoned up. They're not fucking, like, so, I didn't have the edge. They didn't have money. So this was like, you're all in or you're not. My parents didn't have a backup plan for me. What am I going to take the fucking waterproofing business over? I saw my dad drag that motherfucking thing out 110 degrees and spray black. No way in hell. So, they just believed in me, man. And I had so much confidence from my dad, like honest confidence. Like, fuck. I felt like I could fucking rule the world because of him. Not too much, put me in my place when I need to, but he built confidence in me, man. And that is what took off for me.
Well, your dad's an awesome dude. I mean, the couple of times I met him, I remember when we surprised you with the St. Louis Hockey Hall of Fame thing, and they came up to when we were doing the show, the holiday party, I think. I think that the day that all of that stuff happened, we surprised you up there. They came up and we're really excited about that. Yeah, you can tell there are people that really, gave it all for moments like that. So it's a big payoff for that. But, so you go 117 in the 02 draft. And that is, that's a big thing, no matter what, how you started to rise up from a place that nobody's looking for hockey talent at all. But to do that, you go 117 right there, and then your life just goes in a completely different direction because now you're going off to play juniors, and you're what, 17?
Well, I played juniors at 15, 16 in St. Louis, and then I got drafted into the Ontario Hockey League at 16, 17. So I had to move here to play in Windsor with an 85-year-old billet family that couldn't control me. Their fucking life depended on it. And I played one. So the best league in the hockey league in the world found there's a weird. Somebody called somebody and said, "Take a look at this kid from Eureka," and it happened. And they took a chance and they drafted me in the OHL. And then I played a year, and then that was my draft year. And I led the league in fights, and I just fucking put a goddamn show on. And I got drafted. I got drafted in Toronto with my parents and everybody there, man, and it was fucking awesome. It was awesome. I thought I was going second round, but I went fourth round, but whatever.
So how much do you think about like how you started up and where you came from? Just kind of, I'd say maybe frame the way that you played, because I mean, for people that don't know, I'll say this for black people right away. They say, "Man, I hope they have a fight at this joint."
No. You're the last to know because his position is gone though now, almost in NHL.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, and that's where I want to kind of get to with that, but like kind of the road to getting to that part, because even the guys that are banging heads at some point were putting the biscuit in the basket too. Yeah. They were putting the puck on. You gotta have skill to play in NHL. It's not just being a boxer on skates. You gotta be able to play. And so, like, how much do you think about the fact that you came from that, blue collar, super blue collar background? You had that natural like tenacity for that, fueled you into saying that I'm going to become an enforcer when I get in here. I'm going to be a guy that's going to bang heads and do what I need to do. Like, how much did that fuel into how your outlook was when you started playing?
I never even thought about being an enforcer. I just played the way my emotions let me play.